everybody, it's Christine. I'm here to do my weekly wrap-up. I actually got quite a few things finished this week. 4. So the first one I finished was Nora Roberts' Blue Dahlia. And this is book 1 of the In the Garden trilogy. And it is about a girl. Well, it starts off with a woman in 1892 who is having a baby. And she hears the baby cry, and then she gets put out with laudanum, like the old-time anesthetic, I guess it would be. And then she wakes up and says, I want my baby, and the doctor says, no, sorry, it was stillborn. And you kind of get a glimpse into the fact that she is having this man, Harper's baby, illegitimately, because she's, I wouldn't say a prostitute, but she's a kept woman. She's a mistress. There you go. And this book takes place in Harper House, and there's always been a Harper living there. So fast forward, 100 years, 130 years, something like that. And a woman is waiting for her husband to get home from a business trip and finds out that he isn't in a plane crash. So she decides to move back to her hometown of Memphis, and with her 2 kids, and works at this, decides to go into this nursery called In the Garden, and the owner there is a Harper, and she says that in order to work for me, you have to live with me, because she's out in a rural area. So then there's a ghost in the Harper house. So then it progresses out from there, but it finishes off the relationship, but you don't know about the ghost. And the ghost only loves kids and single women. So go figure. If there's a man in the house, she gets really, really angry. So there's that. I think I gave it a 4, just because it was a little bit slow to get going. And then I read The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Alberti. I do have to say, I like Simon versus the Homo sapiens agenda much better. At first, this, and I've seen reviews of this, that they love the fact that there's every possible race, sexuality in here, everything. And it didn't feel like the author was throwing it at you. And for me, it felt like the author was just trying to put it out there to be in the book so that she wouldn't piss anybody off. And I really think that's a shame because, like in my community where I live, you don't have a whole lot of different races. I mean, they're starting to come in now, but we are so in the north that we don't have a lot of different. I mean, we do have Asians, we do have blacks, we do have Pakistanis, we do have Indians. Like, we have 2 Indian reserves around us. We have some refugees from Syria. Like, it's, we have people around. It's just the majority is white here. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just that's my reality. So when an author feels the need to put somebody of every different race or sexuality just so that she doesn't piss people off, I think that's wrong. If you want to write a book with all white people, write a book with all white people. If you want to write a book of all transgender people, write a book of all transgender people. I'm really getting tired. This is one of my rants again, and I do have to make those videos. But I'm really getting tired of authors having to not write what they want to write because some people are going to get pissed off. Every book in this world is going to piss off somebody. So, rant over. Anyways, so this is about Molly and her twin sister, Cassie. And Molly is black or mulatto, and Cassie is white, and they're twins, but they were artificially inseminated into one of their moms because she has 2 moms, or they have 2 moms. Molly is a little bit overweight. Cassie is, blonde, skinny, And so she's had 26 different crushes, 27. And I don't think crush is the right word, because she's only talked to these people like once for not even 5 minutes, and she's got a crush on them. No, that's just a little bit of a, I wouldn't say crush. It's just, oh, they're cute. That's not a crush. A crush is when you like somebody for a little bit longer than 5 minutes. So that was one of the problems I had with this as well. And then, and this isn't a problem, this is just normal reality. They're trying to get her a boyfriend. Her sister and her friends are trying to get her a boyfriend. Her sister is gay, or lesbian, sorry. And it starts off with Molly meeting up with this girl called Mina, and in the bathroom, and she thinks she's perfect for her sister. So they get introduced, and Mina's got this friend Will, who thinks she thinks he's cute, but nothing more of it. And her sister automatically says, "Oh, you're crushing on him." And then she gets a job, and she meets Reed. And for once in her life, she's able to talk to a same age boy without feeling uncomfortable, and she's really enjoying that. And then she realizes that she has a bit of a crush on him. So it goes from there. So I like that part of it. That was more real than all the 26 crushes beforehand. And then, once I got past a few chapters, it stopped feeling like the author was throwing stuff at you. And then it started to flow. So I did end up giving this, I think, a 3.75. So I bumped it to a 4. I really, I'm not the target audience for it, but I can still enjoy it. So yeah, it was okay after I got over that little hump. And I really did like the relationship between Molly and her two moms. It was nice to see the two moms the way they were, and that was great. I loved it. So then I finished That Scandalous Summer by Meredith Duran, and I think I gave this a 3.5. Excuse me, which I bumped to a 4. This was a little bit slow. Like usually for historical romances, I can just breeze through them, no problem. This one was a little bit slow because there wasn't as much tension between the two main characters, and usually in historical romances, there's a lot of tension, and it just keeps the pace going. And this one just didn't seem to have that. It's between well, first it starts off with Michael DeGray and his brother Alistair, who's a first son. And his wife had died, and he found out that his wife was cheating on him, and so he hides himself in the house. And his brother runs a hospital; he's a doctor. And so Alistair, the oldest son, says, "You must marry somebody that I choose for you, in order for you to continue to get my funding for this hospital." And so Michael DeGray says, "Yeah, up yours." And he leaves. He goes into hiding. And then he meets this Mrs. Chudderley, who is a widow with no children. So everybody thinks she's a whore because she had these photos taken of her, and so everybody thinks she's a whore because of it. And so they meet. He's a doctor, and he's performing a C-section. And the local town doctor does not like that. He wanted to let the woman pretty much die with the baby. And so Michael DeGray says, "No, we're going to do the C-section, and at least try and save one of them." So she just happens to be in the house and helps. And then, the relationship starts from there. But there was no real tension, no build up, it was just ho-hum, so yeah. And then I read our hashtag on the booktube shelf book for April, and that was Paper Butterflies by Lisa Heathfield. And I think I wouldn't necessarily say I'm in a hangover from this, but this one hit way close to home, way close to home. I gave it a 5. The only thing I didn't like about this was the fact that it kind of ended open-ended. There's no sequel to it, and you kind of just like, well, and? But I will be posting my update on Wednesday. I've already filmed it, obviously. And I'm going to warn you right now, it is raw. And please forgive me for that. But I wanted to put my feelings out there while I could. because I don't think I can talk about this again without bursting into tears. So it is about a girl named June who is being badly tortured and abused by her stepmother and stepsister. And it is sad that people in this world have to go through this. It really is. So, yeah. I don't think I can say much more than that about it without going into tears. So I'm just going to put it away now. That one is a very hard one. Very hard one. So, currently reading. Oh, actually, no, I finished another one. And it is called A Christmas Gone Perfectly Wrong, a Blackshear Family Novella by Cecilia Grant. There we go. And I had started reading this one, and that is A Lady Awakened. And there was something missing, and so I went on Goodreads and found that there was a prequel novella, and that's this one. So I decided to read this one first, and I just finished it last night. And let's see if I can get, there we go. So this one is about a man who goes to, it's the day before Christmas Eve, and, oh, what is his name? It's Andrew Blackshear. So he goes to this baron's house, and the baron, I'm going to put this down to get rid of the glare. The baron has a daughter, and he's going to this baron's house to get a hunting bird for his sister who's getting married, and she's getting married to a man that is a hunter. So the baron has a daughter, and the daughter has a party to go to on Christmas Eve for the 12 Nights of Christmas thing. And unfortunately, her driver accidentally hurt his wrist the day before, so he couldn't drive her. So she wrangles her way in to Andrew's carriage to go to this party that her aunt and uncle are having. And she brings along her maid, but they drop her maid off at this house first to see her family, and she decides, well, my maid deserves to see her family longer than a half an hour, so she's going to stay there, and I'm going to go on with you, the man. And so the carriage breaks down, the wheel breaks, and they have to spend the night with no chaperones at these elderly people's house who their daughter is not there for Christmas because she just got married and they're at the in-laws. So that's pretty much the story. I gave it a 3. It's a little, it's nothing to write home about. So currently reading. I'm going to finish this one, and it's A Lady Awakened by Cecilia Grant. And this takes Andrew's younger sister Martha's story. So I just started it, and then I went on to that one, and I haven't read any more. And we didn't really make a whole bunch of progress on Harry and the Prisoner of Azkaban, but I'm reading this one. My son's reading this one. Last night he ended up watching a hockey game with my husband, so yeah, we're did we do that one? No, I don't think so. Yeah, we're this far in, so we still have this much more to go, and I think there's, let's see how many more chapters. 22, so there's 7 more chapters to go. So we'll probably finish this next Sunday night, and then we'll start on the next one. So those are the currently reading. I'm going to probably pick up 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston, and it is the it's like a Aladdin or 1001 Nights, Arabian Nights retelling. So it should be a nice easy read for me. And then our pick for hashtag on the booktube shelf for May is If You Only Knew by Kristin Higgins. I've never read anything by her before, but I've heard she's fantastic. So Chloe from Chloe Be Reading will be having the first update on the 7th of May, and all the links below for the ladies of hashtag on the booktube shelf. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to a nice, easier, lighter funnier read for the next pick. Girls, I don't think I can do another Paper Butterflies book anytime soon, that is. So yeah, that is my weekly update. Been a productive week. So let me know what you guys are reading. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye.